Hey, housewives.
Hey, housewives.
How are you guys doing? We are going to talk about something different today.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yes.
We just want
It's
to talk about having fun
yes.
alone.
Alone. Is that possible?
I know.
We're not talking about it in that dirty way.
No,
Get your mind out of the gutter, housewives. Okay, so
we did not.
I love doing that to her. It's too fun. She's so red and she's
It's
blushing.
good.
She loves it.
I love it.
Um, she loves it right now. She might tell me to edit that out later.
No, I won't. I
Um,
won't. Not that one.
good. Okay.
Mhm.
So we're talking about traveling alone. And have you ever done it? Because we were at lunch with a friend or a group of friends, gosh, months ago.
Yeah, 6 months ago, I
Yeah,
think.
months ago, almost a year ago, I
Yeah.
think, because it was around like spring break, I think.
Hmm.
And she mentioned that she was going on a trip. And she said, yeah, this is my first trip ever by myself. And like, I was like, wait, what? And she was like, yeah, this is the first trip I've ever gone somewhere and not known anyone or like I'm not meeting
Meeting
somebody
someone.
there
Yeah.
or whatever, but this is the first time I've traveled. And I I was just kind of I was surprised. I was surprised. I'm also surprised when I know and meet people that haven't traveled with their spouse, with just their spouse, you know,
Like without their kids, you
without
mean?
their kids.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
without their kids since their kids have been born,
Hmm.
right? Or just like, yeah, my husband and I haven't taken a trip together in the last 10 years. And you're like, whoa, why? Like,
Yeah.
sorry, that anyways, but so it was surprising to me because it's something that I've seen. I grew up seeing my mom do it.
Hmm.
I would travel, my mom and I would do road trips often with different things. So I've done it and you've done it. I totally forgot about your
Yeah.
what you did in college. Okay, so talk
Yeah.
about what you did in college.
Well, so I was very involved in my sorority in college, and the year after you graduate, they have a traveling graduate consultant is what it was called then. That was, 20 some years ago. And
That's a
now,
professional title, right?
yes, and now I think they're like, some other kind of consultant. But anyway, I got picked by one of 10 in the country that got to travel around to different college campuses. And so each week I flew and I lived out of a suitcase for 4 months at a time. And it was the journey of a lifetime.
I can't
Like,
imagine.
I can't.
So
So,
fun.
and let me go back and say, I am a small town girl.
I was about to say that. I was like, how was it? Was it
I
Mouse in the City?
Yeah,
Kind of
totally. So I was a
country
small
mouse
town
in the city?
girl. Yep. Grew up on a farm. The first time I flew on an airplane was in college, and I went to a sorority convention. Actually, let me take that back. My first time flying, was I in high school? I flew to Montana to see my friend get married, and I'm not sure if that was my senior year or my freshman year. But
Okay.
either way, went out there for that, and then my mom was with me for that one. And then another time when I went, it was my sorority convention. And I just fell in love with traveling. And I think it was because I'd never done it. So the like incredible, like exploring somewhere else was just so fascinating to me.
Yeah.
And so one of my favorite stories too is my college roommate. She was from a suburb of Chicago, and we were roommates all 4 years. And she took me back to her family's over Christmas break, and we went to Chicago. And have you ever seen that scene in the Elf movie where he just runs and runs and runs in a revolving door
Yes.
until he throws up?
Yes.
Well, I this is before Elf was ever out, but that was totally me. We showed up at Macy's.
Oh my God. I
We
love
were
it.
walking downtown and I was like, I've always wanted to go through a revolving door. I
Oh
was a
my,
freshman in college and had never been through a revolving door.
that's
I went running
amazing.
around and her parents were like, "Oh my gosh. It is like one of the greatest things." They laughed their tails off. Like it was so fun. So all that to say, like my appreciation
You should
for
go back
like
for the elf on that and be like, you stole that from me.
yeah, right.
I have witnesses. So
But my appreciation for things is like so I just love exploring. So became a consultant And I think my parents were scared to death because
Yeah.
I'd flown maybe twice. I had never been out of the Midwest ever,
How
ever.
what about your parents? Would they ever travel without you?
Mm-mm.
No. So
No. Mm-mm.
they don't have the travel bug.
No.
They were so they
Yes.
were
I mean,
like,
we went to the same place. We went fishing every year, every summer. We went to the same place, same cabin. It's like a family history of us, and it's an incredible vacation. I mean, my kids still love it even when we're able to go join them. But yeah, no, there was no exploring
"Oh,
whatsoever in my
okay.
life.
Okay.
So it did not happen until I was in college. And then I, like I said, fell in love. So every week I got to fly to a different college
So fun."
and explore the college campus. And then I would always have like a free day on the front end or the back end because they allowed for because it was our job. So they allowed for
Right.
us to like relax and have fun where we were.
Right. Have a weekend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I would just whoever I met when I was there, I would be like, "Hey, you want to go see Niagara Falls? Let's go. You want to go see the Grand Canyon? Let's go." I had a couple girls and I was like, "Hey, I've never been to Disney." When I was in California, I was like, "Let's go to Disneyland for the day." And I went with 3 random girls to Disneyland. Like I just went.
I need to do life over. I did it wrong. I think
Mhm.
no, I that see, that sounds like the perfect job for me,
Mhm.
which is so crazy. But I literally met Andrew my first semester of college.
Yeah.
And had I had something like that,
Maybe you never would have settled down.
yeah,
God knew. He was like,
yeah,
"Gotta get a leash
yeah,
on you real quick."
yes, he did. He said, let's tame that
Yeah.
pony
Yeah,
for
and
all
he
the
was like, "This girl has got to get out of rural
yes, yes,
America
we've
and let
got
her
to show
see
her.
that there is a whole big world out there."
Yes. And then you lived in, I mean, you ended up living in
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yep.
And I mean,
Mhm.
you never probably would have seen yourself there.
No,
No,
not at
I
all.
mean,
No, and that had a lot to do with my best friend from college, having visited Chicago with my roommate from college, like just different avenues like led me there.
right.
And I visited Northwestern University, their chapter there, and they took me downtown and I was like, okay, I'm in love here.
Yes.
Like, and I wanted the big adventure.
Yes. The big city adventure.
Hmm.
Again, country mouse.
Yep.
I
Yep.
love that. I love
Yeah.
that with you. What, okay. So, how, like, what would you say the hardest thing to overcome for you for traveling by yourself? Was it how, like, talking to strangers, like, because everyone's a stranger, like, if
Yeah.
you but I mean, it was your job, so there were specific people you were connected with that you would communicate with,
Hmm.
therefore leading to relationships and random girls that you would take to Disneyland. But how would you, was it the big adjustment of like, I can go eat at a restaurant and be okay that it's a booth for one?
Yeah.
Like, what would you
I
say the toughest part was?
So the toughest part for me was trusting too easily because I am a
Oh.
small town girl. Everybody knows everybody. And it became this like I needed to make sure that I was in a safe place, at all times. I'm a young, 21-year-old
College girl.
girl, traveling around. And so so us consultants, we, had our group chat and we would always check in on everybody. Like that was like the everybody in, everybody safe, everybody good. Like
Okay.
we communicated a lot. We had our like overseers as well that like usually checked in on us a couple times a week. But it was back in the day before I mean, we had a cell phone, but it wasn't
It wasn't
it was a
on you all the time.
smartphone. There were
Yeah.
no smartphones.
You had to press
Um
B 3 times to get to the letter C.
Yes, and it was like laptop, open up and connect, and you could instant message people, instant messenger,
Yeah.
or email. But I mean, I literally had addresses every week, like where I was going, and so my family could mail me stuff a few weeks in advance. So they could mail stuff to
Oh,
different chapters, and
okay.
then I would get like snail mail because I
Yes.
was literally on the road. But the whole trusting people was hard. I learned way too quickly that like not everybody needed to be my friend. I learned that I didn't like everybody
That's good.
because I also grew up very I mean, and even in college, I was like social and I knew everybody. I liked everybody. Very rarely was there like any animosity with anyone.
Right.
And then I started traveling and I'm like, oh my gosh, people are
Annoying.
assholes. Like,
I love how
I
you said assholes and I said annoying when
and that's
normally
not
it's
it's not
the other way
normal.
around.
However, I mean, you would witness people, traveling and they're just jerks,
Yes.
And so,
Yes. People traveling are jerks.
yeah, so that was
That is, yeah.
definitely something that I had to be like, "Oh, holy cow, this is a whole new area
Right.
of life for me." But yeah, I one of my favorite things that I did when I traveled was I journaled. And I really started walking with the Lord more when I was in college. So that became like a consistent thing for me. And I journaled a lot and prayed a lot, and I think my favorite thing now, and I still have those journals, is to look back and see like how faithful God was in all of those times when I was so afraid or scared or, lonely, because
Yeah.
it did get lonely. I mean, there
Yes.
were
When you're,
times where,
yeah, I can't imagine for 4 months.
yeah, and you could be somewhere and you're like, okay, I mean,
And
there's
you
some
just
rough
want,
spots.
yeah, and just homesick.
Homesick for sure. And so the trusting people was one thing. The other hard thing was sleeping. I had a pillowcase. So this was the thing I traveled with a pillowcase. So everywhere I slept, I like had my own pillowcase.
Okay.
And like scent spray, like sleep
Spray.
spray,
Yeah.
that was like a thing. But it was something that like that adjustment part was hard, the sleeping part in a different
Yes.
place every week.
Yeah.
But my favorite is the going to dinner alone, going to a movie alone. Like I love being able to say that to my kids. I'm like, I want you to feel totally confident and comfortable in doing those kinds of things.
Yes. Yes. Going to events alone
Yeah,
is okay.
it's okay.
It really is. So, for my experience of traveling alone, I didn't really start like you and I've been part of network marketing companies,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
so we've done a lot of traveling, if you will, like meeting others in a location. So, like huge groups of people. And so, where there's all a common theme or,
Yeah.
you're a common cause that you're all traveling there for.
Mhm.
And so that has been one way I've traveled, and that's great. But there is just something about traveling by yourself to somewhere in where there is no agenda or there is like you have to be there at this time to do this. Like that's why you're traveling there for something specific or you're wanting to see something. So you've made that one plan, but then all the other time is free.
Mhm.
Like what do you do with it? And I have gotten like some of the fun trips I've done this really in 2024. I went to Orange County, California, and went and saw Seth Gruber's The White Rose Resistance 1916 project. I knew people that were going to be there, but not more than, I've had coffee with them or something like that.
Mhm.
And so traveling there and staying in a hotel room by yourself
Oh, it's
and
so lovely.
it's amazing. Like, holy cow. And like, you're not having to ask anyone, where do you want to eat? No, like, find the restaurant and go eat where you want to
Mhm.
eat.
Mhm.
Like, if you want to eat Casey's gas station pizza, eat Casey's gas station pizza, like, and eat that in your room. Fine. Like, you're not having to ask anybody else. Like, you can ask for recommendations, but you get to make the decision. And it's not, on that same trip, since I was there for like 3, 4 days, I happened to be there on a Wednesday. And so I got an Uber and took a 45-minute drive to Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills to go see their Wednesday night Bible study because I was within an hour. I was like, I'm going to go.
Mhm.
I went to this massive church all by myself and just for this Wednesday night. And I still didn't get to see the pastor because he was sick.
Oh.
It was such a bummer, but I mean, that was awesome. And just talking to the Uber drivers on the way there and on the way back, or not talking to the Uber drivers is
Mhm.
also an experience.
Yep.
Like you just,
Mhm.
I'm just going to be quiet. I'm in my head and that's okay. But getting to decide and like you said, I don't know. I think I'm more cynical than naturally cynical than you probably were to begin when you started
Oh,
traveling.
yeah. Well, now I am,
Right. No, you've
and
grown. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. You would. Yeah. You're like, no, don't walk that dark alley by yourself. Not a
Yeah.
good idea.
Mhm.
And I think for me, I like very socially it's a good practice too
Yeah.
for yourself to be socially aware and not know like, oh, my husband's next to me, he's got it. Or, like
Mhm.
I'm with a group of girls, it's fine. Like, no, when I enter in a restaurant by myself, I'm going, okay, where's the exit? Do I want to have my back to the door? Or, like making sure like if I'm on a road trip, am I bringing my firearm with me? And how do I carry when I'm on a road trip by myself? Or, wherever I'm going, do I carry? That's, especially events and things like that, larger groups of things.
Mhm.
I find myself traveling. The things that I've traveled for by myself for recently have been things for an event. So like the Tucker Carlson and Dan Bongino. I drove to Tulsa by myself for that one. I did Wichita with Tucker Carlson and Charlie Kirk with a friend. That's when I did. I've driven 6 hours from Kansas City to Broken Bow, Oklahoma, all by myself or whatever. Or, I mean, even day trips.
Mhm.
It's so good just to do a day trip. Like I've done day trips to K-State. I did that with, I think that's what made me fall in love with it was that time that I knew that I got to have, like, I got to have the day to myself and like,
Yeah.
I dropped off my dog for chemo, and then I could go find a place for lunch and then go to the bookstore.
Mhm.
Or if I wanted to go shop, I could go shop. Or if I wanted to explore, I could go explore. If I wanted to do, what are they, an excursion, I could go. I had the time to do an excursion by myself. Like it was just, yeah, I think that's probably when I fell in love with traveling. And then I would be home by 6 o'clock. Like
Yeah.
I left at 6 a.m. and I was home by 6 o'clock, but I literally traveled to another city for you know, for a purpose, but I fell in love with being by, and I'm an only child. I
Yeah.
think sometimes we forget too. I certainly forget for my girls, like they don't have a concept of what it is to be alone.
Yeah.
They've grown up with each other.
Mhm.
That they don't know what it is to entertain themselves or
Mhm.
to like figure it out
Yeah.
because you've always had this built-in playmate. Now that they're a little bit older and they're doing separate activities,
Yeah.
and so I've got one home while one's at club volleyball or the one's at softball lessons, like where we get that one-on-one time and they're getting that one-on-one time of figuring it out. But like I'm totally comfortable alone
Yeah. Isn't
and
it
I
funny
love
though?
it.
Like this is, and I think that's cool that we're talking about this for you because our motto is you're not alone. We
Yeah.
don't ever want you to feel alone,
Yes.
but building confidence with just yourself when you are alone helps you
Yes.
in those moments.
Yes.
And we talk, I mean, I obviously talked about things when I was in college and like that experience of traveling, but I absolutely love flying, traveling, and being alone. And I'm an extrovert. Like, I mean, we're both extroverts.
Yeah. I find
I'm like, you're
myself
questioning this.
yeah, I which is weird, right? It's funny. I'm an extrovert. However, being an extrovert drains me. So
Yes.
I have to
Refuel
refuel
alone.
alone
Yes. Same.
because after like we do events or things or, we've been to events for whatever, our company or something like that. Like I'm exhausted
Yeah.
of being surrounded by people.
Mm.
And then you come home and you're immediately back in the swing of the routine and playing catch up. And
Mhm.
it's like, it takes me forever to get recharged. But
Yeah.
I feel like when I travel by myself and do something like that, I have those moments of quiet built in.
Yeah.
That's easier.
Oh yeah. And that's what I mean, I love the travel alone. I mean, I just when we started talking about this topic, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I just told my husband last week that I really need to, have a just me trip, just a me time
Yeah.
this year." Like I love it. It's part of like just it's in me
Yes.
and it's so fun.
It's the quiet.
But it
It's
doesn't even have to be far. You don't have to go far. You can
no.
go stay at an apartment, Airbnb, whatever,
Right,
like,
downtown
read a
from
book
whatever
or
your suburb is. Yeah, exactly, like, the other thing too is even if it just starts like, if you don't know how to be alone, which I totally understand, especially in our world these days, like,
Yeah.
we are n never you can be lonely in a crowded room of people, but, like, if you aren't completely comfortable being alone, start with lunch just by
Yeah.
yourself.
Mhm.
Start with a date with yourself,
Or coffee.
or
Go to a
coffee.
coffee shop with just you and a book and coffee.
Exactly. And then, and then let it be a meal. And then let
Mhm.
it be you go out for a movie, or then go be a go be a tourist in your own city. Go be a tourist in your own city doing,
Mhm.
go to a museum by yourself in the quietness. Like start small if those are things that you and see where your confidence is.
Yeah. And what you like, what's fun to you, like
Yeah.
go to a movie alone, like go to like there's things that you absolutely can do. Go stroll Target alone.
Yes.
I mean, obviously not alone because there's other people there, but if it's not that you're connecting with somebody, you're just with yourself and
In your own thoughts,
yep.
you allow God to step in.
Mhm.
That's and something too that I'm working with a mentor, which I have loved. But one of the things it's to help grow our business and to grow me as a business person. Is that a deal?
Yep.
Business person,
Mhm.
businesswoman. I
Mhm.
guess I can say that. But he suggested, he goes, you need like take a couple of days. And he's like, I went to a buddy's cabin. He was there. I stayed in the other room. I would do meals with him, but he's like, but I just spent the bulk of my days by myself in my journal and my Bible and just worked through what is my mission? What is my purpose with my business? And what, like, these are things that it seems like you don't have the time to do it.
Mhm.
But he's like, but I wouldn't, he goes, but I left my family for 3 days to
Mhm.
sit down and just listen to what God had for me and to write and to talk to him about it and to read the Bible and go, okay, let all those, you know, he goes, did it happen in an hour? No. He goes, and then when I, needed a break for lunch, I'd go to lunch with my buddy. And then we come back and then I would, study the word some more, journal some more, and
Mhm.
write, write through some things down, do the creative process of, brainstorming by myself.
Yep.
And he's like, that is an absolute game changer for our
Well, and
business.
and I want to encourage the listeners, like, and mostly it's mamas. When you're at home, if you're trying to do anything, there is something else in your head that is like, oh, but I gotta go do that. Or
I like how, but you motioning it something in your head is also the motion for crazy.
yes, uh-huh.
I think that was very. Yes, it mirrors that.
That
There's
I'm
something in
crazy.
no, that we're all
That we're all
crazy,
crazy.
but there is. You're going crazy. You're doing the things, but you're also going crazy at the same time.
Absolutely. You could be in the kitchen, doing the dishes, and then, oh, the dish towel needs to go to the laundry room. Go to the laundry room, change the laundry. Oh, I gotta go put this up in kid's bedroom. And then when you're in the kid's bedroom, you're like, oh my gosh, look at all the cups and plates. And I mean, I could do that all day long, y'all. I mean, that is what I do. Like it is just
Yes.
one thing to the next. I need to leave my home to slow down and to find space in
Yeah.
my head because my home is the crazy space. Now, in good times, like, yesterday being the first of the year, we got all the Christmas decorations down, it's fully decorated, or it's decorated for Valentine's Day now. But all that to say, it is simplified. We've created
I love that
order.
you have Valentine's Day
I know.
decorations. That's so cute.
I have so much Christmas. So you're Halloween,
I'm Halloween.
and then you go light on Christmas.
Uh-huh.
I go very heavy on Christmas. And then when I take it down, it's so bare. So I have to have just like a
Something.
few things. I got some snowmen and some Valentine's Day
Andrew,
stuff out.
no, we have like 6 tubs of storage for Christmas. I used to put up a tree in like I had 3 family trees, and then the girls had trees in their rooms, and I loved it. I, but the last couple of years, I'm like, I can't.
Mhm.
Putting a Santa outfit on my 12-foot skeleton and a reindeer nose on
Who's this
my 5-foot
far
dog
you got?
is about as bad as. And I did get lights on a real tree. No ornaments, but I got lights on my Christmas
Mhm.
tree this year. So there's that. But yeah, and that's okay.
Yes, it is
But
okay.
Andrew says, he goes, I really hope that our storage and decorations are not indicative of our faith, because he goes, we have like 6 tubs of Halloween, 6 tubs of Christmas, and he goes, and then itty little box for Easter.
You're like, yeah, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Mm-mm.
Skelly's gonna dry bones come alive Easter.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's one of those though that because of that, it's the time of year. Like
yes,
Easter is wonderful, but it's also spring and everybody is everywhere.
yes, because
So the decorating
and
is
everybody's outside,
yes.
hopefully.
Yes.
So, like you were saying, that even on a day to day basis, you have to get out of your house
Mhm.
to slow down.
Yes. And we just want to encourage you, find time to be alone in
Mhm.
a healthy space. In whether it's going to a coffee shop and reading a book, maybe it's, hey, it's on your radar this year to take a trip just for you. Maybe
Yeah,
it's just an overnight where you go downtown and stay in a hotel and you get room service and you don't even leave your room. It could be
that's amazing.
it could be anything. We just know because we have we're kind of craving it. I think we both are. We're
Yes.
craving that space a little bit because it's a part of who we are. It's a part of what brings us joy. It's something that we love. And we want
And
to
God uses it.
yes.
It's not a selfish thing, and maybe that's what you ask
Mm-mm.
your family for Christmas, like, "Hey, I" I mean, we're a little far away from Christmas, so maybe your
Yeah.
birthday's closer. So you ask it for your birthday, like, tell your husband, like, "Hey, could you give me funds just for a hotel room?"
Mhm.
And then you ask your parents, like, "Hey, could I just have gift cards so I can go buy myself lunch, when I'm in so you can totally do this within your own budget, within your own schedule flexibility. Like she said, it doesn't have to be huge. It starts small. You can just be a couple, 30, 45 minutes away. But
I
yeah, take the time.
I also want to encourage you to do this when your kids are young so that if you don't already do this, which I feel like most do to an extent, but mamas, you need to be able to do that so that when your kids get a little bit older, you're comfortable just taking a kid and going somewhere too. We
Yes.
have to divide and conquer all the time with 4 kids for travel tournaments and things that way. And I absolutely love it. Like my one of my favorite trips that I just took last year in 2024 was just my daughter and I, and we went to St. Louis for 4 days for her soccer tournament. It was just her and I. And I took care of, hotel and all the meals and where we were going and what we were doing. And I can handle all that because I love to travel alone.
Yes.
So it's no problem for me to do that with just my kid.
Yes.
So I just want to encourage you to do that because you show them independence as well. We're struggling with that with, teenagers, middle school especially. Nobody wants to do anything unless they have someone to do it with.
Yes.
Which I know that's
You
part of
can go to the bathroom
belonging.
alone, middle school girls. You can. It is possible. I'm pretty sure I've seen it happen.
I know, but it's a thing.
Yes. Well, okay. So let's end on this one question. Would you say would you say if somebody hasn't gone on a trip with their spouse and let's say ever, right? Just the spouse since kids or in the
Mhm.
last 10 years, would you say first schedule an overnight with your husband somewhere? Or would you say plan your one on one, like your
Oh,
own?
husband.
Yes. I wanted to say that
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah, no, go get away with your husband. It's one of those that you can have some alone time there too. Like you guys can separate, you can go get a massage, you can go wherever. You can do
He
your
can go
own
play
thing.
golf.
Yep, you can go on walks. It's escaping the chaos of home life is so important to just embrace what you have and who you are inside.
And for your kids to see it.
Yes.
Because I nowadays, kids have this idea that our world revolves around them.
Mhm.
I hate to break it to you, it doesn't. And them. They think, but because at one point they're going to move out. That's the goal for your children to leave the house.
I hope
Yes, right? That's what you're working towards. That's what you're raising them for. Then you're going to be left with your spouse. And if you don't know who that is and you're not actively working on that relationship with your spouse and doing that, you're not going to know who that person is.
Yeah.
And that's not how God intended it. It's, the hierarchy is my relationship with God, my relationship with my husband, my relationship with my children. That's it. And my girls know it. And they know, no, mommy and daddy are a priority. So I just wanted to bring that up because
Mhm.
I think too often we talk ourselves out of that
Yep.
first
Yep.
and making a priority like, oh, well, we do date nights. Date nights are great. But your children also need to learn how to cope with you gone overnight
Mhm.
because I mean, and my girls have seen me gone, they still cry. They still don't it's not their,
Yeah.
well, one of them's like, peace, mom, see you.
Mhm.
Right when you get work. But then the other one hates it, just
Mhm.
absolutely fears it. But also too, I don't want to set her up for failure because and always be home and always because
Yeah.
she's not always going to have that. So
That's right.
so
Take the trip.
Take the trip. Book, make the plans, book the hotel, plan the flight,
Yeah,
do it. It's worth it.
absolutely.
And until next time, housewives. Oh,
Wait.
yes. Can we rep our swag one more time?
Of course we can.
Okay. Go get the fun Hey Hey Housewives embroidered sweatshirt. We've got these in some fun colors. And go get the Hope, Light, and Humor. It's great for starting conversations out and about and bringing others to, just starting the conversation of God and Jesus and where you get your hope and where, or just in the community. It's a community builder to know that, like, hey, I'm not alone. There's another housewife. I love it. We've got coffee mugs. So go to the link is in the show notes, but it's bit.ly/unlikely merch, bit.ly/unlikely merch. So go to that and check it out and get some and start repping some housewife stuff. And then anything else you wanted to add?
No.
All right.
Until next time, housewives.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye.